Hey guys, it's Colin from Call Studios here, and in today's video I'm going to be answering everyone's burning question, or at least attempting to answer that question, which is when will Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Great Adventure officially open? So we have been following the construction progress on this coaster very closely for a very long time, and recently, just this past Tuesday, they were able to top off the coaster, so there's just a little bit left in terms of track work before it is completely done, but the bulk of the layout is done. As of right now, which is Friday, May 31st, all they have left to do is the one support for the back end of the Immelman that they still have yet to do, and I believe there might be some transfer track that still needs to be put down, but otherwise the bulk of the work is done. We've been able to observe the workers going around the entire layout, tightening all the bolts, getting everything set up correctly, making sure everything is tight and to specification. Of course, Vekoma has been heavily involved in this process. They are on site, they are watching the construction very closely to make sure this ride's opening goes smoothly and construction goes correctly. So in this video, like I said, we're going to take a look at when this coaster might open, because quite frankly, I think we're pretty much in the home stretch now, especially once the coaster starts testing. We are really in the home stretch, and speaking of, when will Flash start testing? Like I said, on May 28th, Tuesday, they topped off the coaster. Today is Friday, May 31st. If I had to guess, it probably will not start testing next week. I imagine they still have to go around the layout, and like I said, there are a couple things still left for them to put up in terms of vertical construction, like that one support on the Immelman, as well as some of the transfer tracks, so I don't think next week we'll see testing. I think they still might have to do a little bit of electrical for all the launches. Remember, there are 3 separate launch sections on the coaster. It's quite a bit, and they're all fairly spread out as well, so they have to make sure all of that is sound. Of course, make sure, like I said, all of the coaster's joints are correct, the bolts are tightened properly, and then from there they can start testing, commissioning. And once they do start testing, it is a pretty long process. They have to go through a lot of tests. They need to get the ride inspected and cleared by the state of New Jersey. So as for when the ride will start testing, I think it'll probably be not this week coming up, which is the week of June 1st. I think it might be the week after that, so the second week of June. I think that's when we might see the coaster start testing. I would say probably a little earlier on, although you never know what might happen in terms of construction delays. We're going to have to watch this very closely. In addition to that, once they finish testing, then of course we have to watch for landscaping around the area, and there's a lot for them to do. We've had many conversations with park personnel, specifically Brian Basica, the president of Great Adventure, and we have been told that the ride may open without its Flash logos at the top of the spike, just to make sure they get the ride open when they want it open. And even if it's not there in time, they will still open the attraction. So there will be some aspects of the area that might not be fully done by the time the ride opens. I think their main goal is just getting the ride itself done and open. Now, we learned from the POV and some of the animation pictures that the queue is going to be very different than many other coasters at Great Adventure. It appears the queue will actually be almost fully indoor. From little moments during the POV that was posted by the park of Flash, you can see giant buildings further past the Immelman loop, and to me that screams that they're having an indoor queue, which when they have an indoor queue on a coaster, typically that also means you'll see a lot of theming elements. I've heard rumblings that we might be seeing some kind of a pre-show for this coaster, which honestly wouldn't surprise me considering just 2 years ago at Fiesta Texas, Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger also received a pre-show during the queue experience of the attraction. And I think having a pre-show for this ride would be so cool. We might even see an animatronic, we might see screens. Again, all of this is speculation, nothing has been confirmed by the park, but the fact that it is an indoor queue means that, for one, it's going to be very cool while you're waiting for the ride. I know a lot of people are worried this ride's going to have long lines, which any new ride opening for the first time will have long lines, and this one, quite frankly, I don't think the capacity is going to be as big of an issue as many people think. Even if they had 2 trains with the turntable, they wouldn't be saving that much time, saying each dispatch probably takes around 40 to 60 seconds, of course, depending on delays they may have. It's a very simple restraint system, so I highly doubt it's going to be difficult for them to get the trains out as fast as they can. So even if they did have a second train with a turntable, it wouldn't really be increasing throughput by that much, which is probably why, in my opinion, I think the park just opted to go with the 1 train option. It's a lot simpler, and it's not really going to make that big of a difference in the capacity. But while you are waiting in line for this coaster, you will be able to, like I said, enjoy shade, hopefully air conditioning, which would be great. So lots of speculation to go on with that indoor queue. We're going to keep an eye on that as construction progresses. That's not the only aspect of the area that also needs to be built. We also have the Arboretum, or Park 6 as it's called on the new map, that will also be opening with the coaster because, of course, Flash was built over the Arboretum that opened last year, 2023. They didn't want to completely do away with that, so they'll be opening a new one just across the path from where it used to be. So I imagine they're probably going to want to get that done pretty soon as well. That way it's not just dirt or whatever it may be over there. So that's something else I wouldn't be surprised if it opens after the coaster. Like I said, I think their main goal is just to get the coaster open as soon as they possibly can. That way people aren't making fun of them or they're not missing the 50th anniversary. They want to get it open as soon as possible so as many people as possible can ride it. There's also set to be 2 different locations, one retail, one food. I believe the food one is called Central City Snacks, and the retail location is called the Flash Store, and they're going to be pretty much right under Flash, kind of near the Zero G roll, that area of the path. I'm curious if those will also be open on opening day. From what I understand, they're going to be looking to have that Flash cut-through path open a little before the ride actually opens, kind of similar to how SeaWorld Orlando is doing it right now, where they open the Antarctica area before they're opening the new coaster Penguin Trek. I could see Great Adventure doing the same thing because rides like Justice League and Wonder Woman really aren't getting the same traffic they used to before that path was closed. So I think they're going to want to open that as soon as they can, get traffic flow going better through the park. Then they can also reopen Cyborg, and I imagine Cyborg will also benefit from Flash being open since it should draw more people to that attraction given the fact that they are located right next to each other. But I could definitely see that path opening as soon as they're done with major vertical construction. I know they definitely don't want to get in the construction crew's way, and if they need extra room, they're not going to have the path open. But I also don't know if they're going to be rerouting the path. I'm not sure if it's going to follow the exact same footprint as it would before, or if they're going to have to pour new concrete for the path, and the same could be said about the Arboretum. Not sure if they're going to reuse the old concrete that's already there, or if they're going to pour fresh concrete. So that could also add to the amount of time that we wait until we walk through the area. But once the area is open and the ride is just about to open, what kind of timeline are we looking at for that? If I had to guess, their goal is definitely to have it open on July 1st. That is the official 50th anniversary date. They're definitely on a very tight timeline right now. They have to work extremely fast. Hope there's no issues with testing in order to get it open by that time. So if you are planning a trip to come ride Flash specifically at Great Adventure, if I had to be honest, I would probably recommend you wait until mid or late July just to be safe. That's not me doubting the park or doubting the construction crew. They've been moving insanely fast. They finished the entirety of the track, at least most of the track, in like 33 days, I believe. Super fast. So I would recommend waiting until mid or late July just so you have a better chance of Flash being ready. Though I do think Flash could open as early as the last week of June for pass holder previews. When I say the last week of June, I mean like the last couple days of June for sure. And I could see a grand opening going along with July 1st, which of course is the Great Adventure big 50th anniversary. So again, we don't know for sure. We're gonna have to watch very closely as construction progresses. I wanted to put out an update sort of now that we see that the ride has been topped off and they're gonna be working really fast on getting the rest of the aspects of the coaster done, getting the commissioning all set up. That way we can start enjoying the brand new coaster at Great Adventure. If you guys have any questions, comments, concern, be sure to leave them down in the comment section. Of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.